Hi guys, welcome to the Sports Bet Daily. I'm Alex. Today is Friday. Yes, it's Friday, 30th of August. We are talking US Open round 3 best bets. If you don't know till now, we are back with every round that is happening on the big slams, on the Grand Slams. This is the final Grand Slam of the year, and what a thrilling adventure is it was till today. Some crazy matches, some crazy upsets. We are back with James from Tennis Pilot, and of course with Snize Master. They are killing it with their US Open bets. Hope they are continuing to do the same because they are on fire, and this is why they are back with us every single time to give us from their knowledge, to share their knowledge, and to give their best bets. Welcome, James. Welcome, Snize. How are you, my friends?
Not bad, thank you. Been doing pretty well. As you say, the bets are going quite well this week so far. So hopefully we can continue that run, especially with the outrights.
Snize?
Happy to be here. Friday fun, weekend is approaching. Had a bad day yesterday, really bad day. Other than that, the week has been pretty nice. So hopefully we can get back on track here today and keep the flow going.
You cannot have only how you say sweet days like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday like you had. I think that it's normal to have some bad days from time to time. This is how we learn from our mistakes. This is what is happening if you are a true bettor. You cannot win every day, and I'm sure that everybody who bets professional at the professional level already know that. Important how you finish. Important how you finish the season, important how much ROI you have at the end of the season, because that counts the most. Anyway, between you guys, you are doing an amazing job week in and week out. But today we are talking US Open round 3, and we are starting with the women's side. I'm gonna cry a little bit now because Simona Halep left the building. And what a match from Taylor Townsend there. I think that I don't want to say nothing about her looks and about her rhythm of playing, but anyway, great match from Taylor Townsend. What do you think about that huge upset, James?
Yeah, as you say, excellent match. Felt like Halep was a little bit slow, perhaps, but yeah, it's hard to do a lot when you get caught cold like that, especially over the best of three. You feel like it's the big advantage of having the 5 sets in the men's, as they can really sort themselves out. But yeah, just an excellent match from Townsend.
Yeah, I remember she said in the press conference after the match that last time when Halep destroyed her, she asked her after the match, how should I play next time when I will play, you know? And Halep was very nice, and she said to her some stuff, and imagine that she played exactly like Halep said. And this is how she beat her. And Halep said after at the press conference that I will never say, and if I'm losing, if I'm destroying an opponent, and if they will ask me again, how should I play against you? I will never say nothing because this is what is happening, and unfortunately she lost. But anyway, on the women's side, the draw is perfect. Because we don't know who will gonna win this tournament. Is wide open, and we have some interesting matches today and tomorrow. Maria Sakkari, Ashley Barty are playing right now. Barty leading in the first set 4-2. Martic beating Sevastova. Sevastova was one of nice bets. I think that in the last round she came good. But right now she might lose against Sevastova. Some interesting matchups tonight. Some of them I will say them Kenan versus Keys. I think that this is one of the most interesting matches. Svitolina, Yastremska, two players from Ukraine. Christy N versus Ostapenko. I think that this should be in for a thrilling match. Also, I'm going with the underdog here at 2.55. I will take Christy Ann. James took her against Kuznetsova at 5.0, and it was a winning bet. Kontaveit versus Bencic. and so on. But the most one of the most interesting matches tomorrow also, Osaka versus Coco Gauff. It will be absolutely sensational match. I think that Osaka will beat her after all, but it will be nice. So Snize, tell us a little bit about this draw, and we will talk after about the best bets for this round.
Yeah, so as you said there, Taylor Townsend knocked off Simona Halep in a massive upset. She was really outplayed in the first set, largely outplayed, didn't really stand a chance from the baseline. So she switched things up, which was very noticeable. She started coming forward to the net extremely aggressively, played a lot of serve and volley, and really just tried to get an edge over Halep because she knew she could contend from the baseline, and she did that with quite a lot of success. I think that Halep's forehand in particular went missing, and she could not trust it at all in key moments. Quite a lot of poor attempts at passing shots and errors from her in the key moments, but not to take anything away from Townsend, who really executed her game plan perfectly and played some really gutsy tennis. She was broken serving for the match, saved the match point, and then came back to win it in the end anyway. So a really strong performance from Townsend there. And yeah, I mean, I was expecting Andreescu, which is my outright pick pre-tournament, to have to face Halep to get to the semifinals, but she's not going to have to now. So the draw is opening up very, very nicely. And then in the bottom half, another big player who I think was really impressive in the previous round, Aryna Sabalenka lost. That was unexpected to me. She was playing really well in the first round win, but she also went down. So yeah, classic WTA. You just see it's getting tossed out left and right. Draws opening up. We don't really know who's going to win it, but yeah, it's looking pretty nice.
Consistency is the key to this sport, and many young and talented players like Sabalenka, for example, they don't have the necessary consistency to play. Yes, they can play against any opponent, and if they have a good day, they might win them all. But after that, in the next round, they might have a problem and lose that match in bad fashion. Anyway, OJ Simpson is saying, like you said, draw really opening up for Andreescu. He likes Muchova a lot today against Serena Williams, and he thinks that she might take a set. Serena Williams already lost, I think that 2 sets so far, or one set so far. 1000 is the Dustin Brown of the WTA. I like that comment. Yeah, probably. James, what do you think about this Muchova Serena? Do you have an opinion on this one? Do you think that Serena might lose a set? Do you think that Muchova has any chance to pull off a huge upset here? Because right now, everybody is saying that Serena can win this tournament. Also, after the upsets that we've seen in the last past few days. So yeah, what do you think about
that? Yeah, so I think most of the top players, most of the sort of better players, the top 100, top 50, will have chances against Serena if they play well enough. I'm not sure if I would pick much of her personally to take her on with. But yeah, I mean, I think Serena's vulnerable. I think she's still being fairly reliant on her serve and on her ability to just overpower players. So if someone pushes back with good defense or is able to just play very well on their own serve as well, I think they'll have every chance to take a set.
Yeah, and the price is very good for that to happen. What do you think, Snize?
Yeah, I personally wouldn't say that Muchova would be my pick as well to oppose Serena with, but definitely think that she can, if she plays well, which she has this week thus far, can definitely threaten, perhaps push Serena, get a long set, get an overbet in, maybe take a set. But I still think Serena will have the pedigree and the play to get through there. I think that she'll freshen up a bit on her unforced errors. She's been a bit of a slow starter thus far in the tournament. I think that, as usually is the case with Serena, she plays herself into form, usually starts a bit slow, has a few wobbles here and there in tournaments, and then when she gets going, gets them old legs running, then she's a threat. So I do think that she gets through Muchova here. I'd say the quarterfinals when she gets there, looking like it's going to be Ashley Barty, that's where things get dicey for her, I think.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. You can expect anything. Exactly what we talked on the women's side. Anything might happen. Also, Serena might lose today. Anything might happen.
Mhm.
But this is why we are doing this for every round to get in profit at the end. To finish in profit at the end of the tournament. So let's talk about your favorite bets for this round 3, and I will start with you, James. Many good clashes, really tough to pick up a winner, most of all on the women's side. What do you have for us?
Okay, so I have 2 articles, one of which I think is out, one of which is probably going out tonight or tomorrow. So I'm going to go over those 2 women. So the first one was Yastremska against Svitolina. And again, it's always difficult with these kind of matches where you have a younger player that's playing very well and starting to get priced shorter and shorter against a player who is a top quality player, a top 10 player, but has not been as good as the level that got them there. So yeah, I think there's basically looking at this from the perspective of, I think recent form is probably going to be one of the key factors here. And I think Yastremska is simply playing a lot better overall than Svitolina is. You can see it from several perspectives. So if you look at the hold, the service hold and break statistics, she is ahead, which again is surprising for an underdog. You tend to expect the favorites to be ahead in the sort of raw stats categories. In all of the ROI stats categories, you can see that, again, Yastremska is well ahead, and Svitolina has actually been pretty good to bet against when she's been the favorite. And we see this with her. She's fairly inconsistent as a player. So that was the first one, Yastremska at 2.65. The second one was actually the one you just mentioned. That was in my article, which I sent over today, which is An against Ostapenko. And again, I agree with you. I think An is a nice price for that one, 2.55. Again, it's kind of a similar idea in that you've got recent form being very, very important for this match, but also just An has been consistently a good player to bet against the better players. And I think this is because she's quite a tricky player. She's also a player who has she's quite adaptable. She can do quite a few different things well. So she's quite good at responding to the better players. And someone like Ostapenko is a clay specialist who's been in very poor form. I think the key stat from the article that I wrote is that Ostapenko has actually only won 3 of her last 12 matches, priced at 1.5 to 2. So basically the price range she's in for this match, going back to the beginning of 2018. So that's dreadful. And I would very much expect that she's going to have a tough match of it here. She had a good win last round over Risk, priced at 3. But again, as I mentioned in the article, she had 17 break points against her and 10 break points. She generated 10 break points. So it was quite lucky for her to come through that match, and certainly to come through in straight sets. I think she played very well at the key points and had a bit of luck go her way. But yeah, so I think Yastremska 2.65 and then An at 2.55 would be my plays.
Well, you cannot say that Ostapenko is a clay court specialist. You cannot say that she's a specialist in any kind of court. I think that
Double fault.
she's the. Sorry?
She's a double fault specialist, leads the tour, I think.
she's a mental problem specialist, probably, Ostapenko. Yeah, but I think that she's talented. She has the talent. I never thought that she will win a Grand Slam. She did it, and in what way she did it. But after that, she dropped huge in the tour. So yeah, I'm not expecting nothing from Ostapenko. And when you have such a good price for an underdog against Ostapenko, take it, because it has pure value, in my opinion. Snize, what do you think about those 2 matches? Do you agree with James? And also give us your take on your best bets of round 3 for the WTA part.
Yeah, so what James has mentioned here in his bets makes a lot of sense. I don't necessarily think that Diana Yastremska has it all to take down Svitolina. I think that after she's had her knee injury, she's been getting progressively better, had a great run at Wimbledon, obviously making the semifinals. I think that Diana Yastremska doesn't quite have the consistency over time to wear down the Svitolina defenses. She's a great counter puncher. Another concern for me is that Yastremska, she's third on the tour in double faults. She hits a lot of them, and her second serve and her serve often gets under a lot of pressure, and that will be telling against a great returner like Svitolina. So the price is nice, but I do still think that Svitolina gets through. No bet there for me. The other match, I completely agree with you guys. I think that Ostapenko is well too short in this match, and she might well lose. The bets I've gone for both go off tomorrow, and one of them is Belinda Bencic, and she takes on Anett Kontaveit. So I was initially very surprised why the bookies made Belinda Bencic the underdog here. Bet365 hanging a 2.0 line on the money line here for the Swiss. And yeah, so just to begin with, Swiss is 6.1% ahead in the whole break stats for this year. She's over 50 points ahead in the hardcourt ELO, so statistically she is the superior player this year. I also think that she's had a better year than Anett has. She started off the year brilliantly, making a good run at Indian Wells, among others, but she hasn't even made a quarterfinal since making a Stuttgart final on clay in April, so quite a while ago. She's a great ball striker, and she packs a lot of power, but she's extremely inconsistent, and she's been eliminated here at the US Open in the first round for 3 consecutive years prior to this year's edition. So definitely vulnerable here, doesn't really have a lot of experience going deep into this tournament. I mean, the Bencic, on the other hand, she's been white hot at the start of the year. She had an amazing run to win Dubai and make the Indian Wells semifinals. She beat, I think, 6 top 10 players on the spin. So really got a bit of a reputation as a giant slayer there. She's a vicious counterpuncher. He's masterful at redirection, so I think she'll be able to handle whatever the Estonia throws at her. I also think that a problem I have with Kontaveit is that she's very mentally weak in the pressure moments. She's quite whiny usually, can really get down on herself when things aren't going well. Her coach, Nigel Sears, is one of the best on tour and usually picks her back up. But as you know, on-court coaching is not allowed during Grand Slam tournaments. So she won't have the help of her coach here if the going gets rough. So I feel that Belinda has that extra mental fortitude in the pressure moments, and I think that decides this game. So as the underdog price, I have to take her here. So that's my first bet.
Yeah, it's a great take. Also, OJ Johnson is saying that Bencic versus Kontaveit is very interesting. Wrong player favored in his opinion. He prefers also Bencic to win that match. So yeah, that makes a perfect sense.
Yeah, definitely agree with OG there. I think that the wrong woman is favored, and Bencic should beat the favorite around 180 or so. So definitely take advantage of that underdog price. So on my second bet, it's a matchup between Bianca Andreescu and Karolina Wozniacki. Another really big match, at least on paper. I'm going with Andreescu minus 2.5 games here at 180. So Andreescu's stellar year just continues, really. She's 30-5 this year, 85.7% win rate. She has all the tools to be the future world number 1. She has the highest winning record on hard courts. She has a perfect 7-0 record against top 10 players. It's just that she has it all, and she just doesn't stop. Has 2 straight set victories here, and just continuing the great form that saw her win the Indian Wells title earlier this year and the Rogers Cup title in the lead up to US Open. Wozniacki, she's a former world number 1. But she hasn't really been the same player. She was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis last year around this time, which is a disease that affects the limbs, causes swelling, causes pain and discomfort, and it's very hard to actually perform as a top elite athlete. And very few actually are able to perform as well as she is doing with this serious disease that often can, if it's really bad, can cripple people and make it difficult for them to walk. So she often plays with a lot of pain. It can flare up at any moment, and it's definitely affecting her performances ever since she got that diagnosis. She's fought well to win here. 2 tough 3-set matches, which will surely give her confidence. She's made the semifinals or better 5 times here before. But in the last 2 years, she's been upset twice in the second round. And I just don't think it'll be enough. Looking at it statistically, Andreescu is almost 200 points better in the hardcourt ELO ratings, and that's huge. She's also 11% better in the whole break stats for this year. And she has the game, most importantly, to take away Caroline's greatest strength, which is her defense and counterpunching. She won't overhit her shots. She won't crumble to the pressure that Wozniacki's defense often brings to younger, inexperienced players. And Andreescu is young and slightly inexperienced, but she's shown mental maturity far beyond her years in these situations. So I think she'll switch her up, drop shots, loopy balls, and then unleash the cannon on the Dane. And I think she'll win this match.
You took Andreescu at the beginning of the tournament, and now how much the price dropped for her winning the entire tournament?
I'll check. Give me 1 second here. I don't think the price is open right now, though, as the tournament is ongoing. But I'll see if we can get a live price. I doubt it, but we'll
what
see.
do you think about this, James? This nice match, Osaka versus Goff.
Yeah,
do you have an opinion on that?
It's up. So Osaka
sorry,
is,
what is the difference of the price? How much you took it and how much is now?
I got her at 17 before tournament, and she's the second favorite behind Serena Williams now at 8 to win the tournament. So definitely a nice move there for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So go on, James. You have anything on Osaka versus Coco Gauff?
Yeah, so I agree with what you said at the start. I think I think Coco is the kind of player that clearly enjoys the stage. She's played well this week, and I would imagine that'll be tight. I think she'll push Osaka. I would probably expect Osaka to be a bit too good, but we have seen with Osaka that she's not quite as good as the elite players often are at adjusting when she's behind, or just adjusting to slightly more awkward matches or styles, or these kind of things. So I certainly wouldn't rule her out, Coco. But yeah, I would expect Osaka. I probably wouldn't be getting involved with that match. I'd enjoy watching it.
Yeah, I think that it was a mistake to finish the contract with her former coach. That is for Osaka, because they were doing brilliant together, and this is why I think that she's struggling right now on tour. This is what is happening also with Simona Halep. Despite winning the Wimbledon this year, she still struggles without Darren Cahill, and I think that she will continue to do that. Anyway, that's it for the women's side. Rafa, we are going on the men's side, ATP, and one of the matches that one of our friends is asking us if we have an opinion on that. I was checking also that match myself, because I know that we talked about these two guys very, very much during the last weeks. Rublev versus Kyrgios. I think that it will be, I don't know, if at least I think that if Kyrgios will enter and will be in the mood to play, because this is when you have Kyrgios in a match, he needs to be in the mood to play, to expect something from him. So I think that it will be a long match, probably a nice 5-setter if the fitness will be on both players. So what do you think, Snize? Do you think that Kyrgios will be in the mood to play Rublev in this match? Do you think that Rublev will continue his brilliant performance at the US Open?
Yeah, this is a very, very exciting match, and really just one of those, popcorn matches, as they call them, bring the popcorn out and just sit back and enjoy. Andrei Rublev has long been one of the most talented juniors on tour, and he won the Next Gen Finals in its first edition in 2017. So he's always had a talent, but he's just been plagued by back injuries and really hasn't gotten going. But now he has, though, and obviously took a very impressive win versus Stefanos Tsitsipas in the first round, and emerging as one of the dark horses here to take this quarter. Nick Kyrgios, on the other hand, famously obviously got fined $110,000. That's more than a tenth of his yearly earnings for an extreme outburst at the referee, at the umpire, Fergus Murphy, calling him a potato, spitting on him, berating him for the entire match, pretty much.
Excuse me. Sorry to interrupt you, but I think that a fine is not enough for what he did against that referee. How he talked and how he reacted. I think a fine is not enough, and the ATP should take bigger measurements. I think that measures. I think that he should be banned at least for 6 months, because he's always doing that. I'm not saying that he's not a great player to watch. I'm not saying that he doesn't bring in some excitement in the ATP tour, but enough is enough. You know what you are doing and how you are treating people on court, and most of all the referees. We know what Serena did last year on the US Open finals. You know, I think that it was also enough there, but after that you will say, oh, but I'm a woman, I have rights, you know. But look what is happening also with Kyrgios. I think that a 6-month ban should at least a 6-month ban for what he did. You don't agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely think that he should have been banned. It's long overdue. I mean, he's had his fits. He creates arguments out of thin air. The reason he lost his bananas in this match was actually he got no, he didn't even get a time violation. He was just annoyed because he felt that the umpire was starting the serve clock too early when he was going to serve, and he hadn't even gotten a time violation for it. But he's like, no, the umpire has started the clock too early, and then he went on about it for the entire match. And it's obviously not the first time he's been ejected from matches for throwing shares in Rome. He keeps he just keeps going on, and obviously right now though he's actually in some pretty serious trouble though, because he's been going out on air and calling the ATP corrupt, and they're actually investigating him now for real. So I think that right now Kyrgios will be in his best interest to just focus on the tennis, which I think he has done this week. I think he's feeling the pressure. He went on media with an apology. The highly lucrative Laver Cup is coming up for the ATP, where Kyrgios is going to be participating. So I think that's a reason why the ATP Tour might be hesitating to suspend him, which I think is wrong, obviously. But he brings a lot of money to the sport. That's undeniable. But yeah, Kyrgios has looked scarily good, incredibly hard to break down on his serve. But I think that Rublev is just so ultra consistent from the baseline. He has a rocket of a forehand comparable to Juan Martín del Potro pre all the wrist injuries. And he's just playing full of confidence. Tsitsipas is another player that has a big serve. He took him down in 4 sets, and I definitely not advising anyone to go against backing Rublev at a nice price here, because if Kyrgios isn't locked in, he'll lose the match. That's a guarantee, pretty much. And at this price, I think it's a little bit big. So yeah.
I think Alex, I would agree with you. I would say the overline makes a lot of sense.
I would say the overline makes a lot of sense. I think that the ATP is corrupt because they are not suspending Kyrgios, not corrupt from any other point of view. This is because he brings money to the tour. That is stupid. You know, other players are bringing money to the tour. Anyway, that's not the discussion here. James, you always love the underdogs. You love to play the big prices. Do you fancy Rublev in this one?
So, I mean, I think Rublev is not what I would consider a big price. 2.5, I would probably say is about right. I don't think that I would expect him to beat Kyrgios. I think maybe 50-50 on a good day, but I would be more inclined by the bet you suggested, which is the overbet. I think the overbet will be very likely a good bet. I've not actually checked the line for that quite yet. But that's likely to be a good bet. Or the first set tiebreak, if you can get over, say, 3.25, although that seems unlikely.
Yeah, it's for unders over games. Right now, the line, a good line, is at 39.5 games at 1.8
That's very good.
with Bet365. So if we see 4 sets and 1 tiebreak in between them, I think that that is a very good bet. And also in
That
number
line
of
won't
sets, that is small, is 1.5 over 3.5 sets. But for example, over 4.5 sets is at 3.25, you know. And in the first set, you can take over 10.5 games at 2.32. So that's a nice line too.
7-6 first set score any player if you have Bet365. That's available at 350. I'd go ahead and take that. That is a fantastic bet. Both players have amazing serves. Kyrgios doesn't really invest a lot of energy on return, breaks less than 10% of the time, has a monstrous serve himself. Very, very likely to say first set tiebreak, so that's a great price.
Medvedev, Daniil Medvedev, our Russian guy with the most victories this season, on fire. He lost 1 set against Delian, but that is not a problem in my opinion. Meeting Feliciano Lopez right now, huge favorite Medvedev, 1.38, 1.4, depending on the bookies you're betting with. I think that he should clearly advance from this one. What a luck from Nadal. Nadal, not only that his quarter and his half of the draw is very nice made for him, but also players are withdrawing and he doesn't even need to play. So here he is after 4 days without playing, meeting tomorrow. Who is playing against Chung? Chung, whatever, who played the 5 sets in the round 2. James, I think that it will be a clear victory for Nadal, right?
Yeah, I don't think Chung's likely to threaten Nadal. It's difficult because Chung is the kind of player, he actually had a very good match against Nadal in the past. I remember watching it, can't remember exactly where, but he is exactly the kind of player that could really threaten Nadal on his day because he's a very aggressive baseliner and he can really take time away from Nadal, and that's how you beat Nadal basically. But he's obviously been injury stricken for a long time now, really not able to maintain his level. Came back from 2 sets down against Verdasco yesterday, and he was just frankly quite lucky to win that match. I mean, you know, Verdasco went a little bit AWOL mentally, I think. And yeah, I would definitely be expecting the more rested Nadal to have a fairly easy time of that match.
Yeah, we have some great matches also here on the boys' men's part. We have Isner Cilic. I think that should be an interesting match to watch. We have Zverev Bedene. One player that's nice loves Berrettini playing tomorrow Popirin. Monfils Shapovalov. This is a great matchup. Should be very interesting. So what are your best bets, Snize, for this third round?
Yes, just gonna have to agree with what we've just broken down here on the Rublev Kyrgios match. I'm gonna have to go ahead and strike on that over, making it a 2-unit play over 39.5 games at 180 from Bet365. I think that is a great line. It looks very, very likely to hit. I think we see 4 sets minimum, long sets at that. So I'm going ahead and hit that. The other 2 matches I've had my eyes on here is the one you just mentioned. It's John Isner, Big John Isner versus Marin Cilic. So it's a matchup between 2 very, very out of form players that are currently playing far below their best tennis. So that always complicates things a little bit. But it's Cilic that's always had the upper hand in this particular head-to-head matchup. He leads 9-3. So he's won 9 out of 12 games that these pair have played. And I don't think that Isner has been great since returning from a stress fracture in his foot. He got earlier in this spring. I think that had Struff been a bit more clinical in the key moments, he was up a mini break in both tie breaks, if I remember correctly. But he went mentally AWOL and just couldn't control it, and just couldn't, as usual with Struff, couldn't take advantage. I think that he could have gone out there Cilic wasn't playing as his best himself versus Stebe, but he improved as the match went on. And despite this being Isner's home major, he's never been past the quarterfinal, and he's lost in the third round a whopping 5 times of the last 7 occasions. So a bit of a boogie round here for Isner. Usually gets sent packing in this third round in particular. The whole break stats are quite similar, but Cilic is a full 100 points better in the hardcourt ELO ratings, and I do like the Croat to come out on top in this one. I think he has a better baseline game than Isner with a comparable serve, and that goes a long way in these big hitting matchups. So I got him at 1.85 to win. So that's my first bet.
Okay.
The second match I've looked at is Gael Monfils versus Denis Shapovalov. However you pronounce it.
Shapovalov.
I think, yeah, Shapovalov. So Denis Shapovalov, he's certainly been improving by leaps and bounds, really. He's always had the talent. He had a great breakthrough in Toronto, I think, in 2017, where he beat a bunch of top 10 players to reach the semifinals there. But he's just been so ultra inconsistent. He can just go AWOL. His return game can badly misfire. He can hit unforced errors for days. But he's hired a new coach and a US Open specialist at that, Mikhail Yoshny, who usually found his best tennis at this very major. And he's looked much, much improved since. He's been able to reel in his unforced errors, play with bigger margins, control his aggression, and go for the big shots at the right moment. So he's been very impressive with this last week or so. And he's played really well here. But Gael Monfils is one of the most talented men in the entire game. And when he's not injured, and when he's focused, and when he's playing at peak level, which he seems close to be doing right now, he's in a much higher class than Shapovalov, quite frankly. When he's at his best, he's definitely a fringe top 10 player, if even top 10 player. He's ahead a good 10% in the whole break stats and 90 points in the ELO. He's a former semifinalist here. He's had a very easy time in his first 2 matches. And I think he should be the clear favorite to me. And I got him at 1.92. The market is probably going to move him down more towards the favorite range there. So I have to take him at his favorite price.
Yeah, do you remember Michael Yoshny?
Using, Snize?
Mikhail Yoshny with the racket that he was doing this sign every time he was winning the match. I don't know if you guys remember him. I remember him very, very good.
That's a good
Do
place.
you think, James?
Sorry, James. What did you ask?
I was just, which ELO are you using? Is it one you've made yourself, or is it from a site?
No, I'm using it from a Tennis Abstract, a very good tennis database. So this is surface-specific ELO ratings, so they match it up there. Yeah. And he's on the hard court, then he's 90 points ahead.
Yeah, I've tried doing them before. It's hard to make one that's much more, I suppose, accurate and predictive than the Tennis Abstract one. But I can never figure out what their K value is. It's hard to figure out exactly what they're using to get the specific ELO. But anyway, sorry, yeah.
Do you think that the brain is the French brain is with Monfils this week? Because last week Wellcapper mentioned that they have one brain and they are sharing the brain, you know. Maybe Monfils has the brain this week.
Yeah, I mean, I think Monfils is generally a bit better in slams, if nothing else. But yeah, you never really know where he's going.
So, what are your best bets for on the men's part for round 3, James?
Okay, so I think the one that I sent in the article, which I think is a very good bet if you can still get the prices that were there, is in the Schwartzman Sangram match, is on under 8.5 and under 9.5 games at 4.6 and 2.33 respectively. So there's a few things here. Schwartzman, the most return-orientated player on tour. He's won the 3rd most return games in 2019 behind Novak and Rafa, and in 2018 he won the 2nd most return games on tour, only behind Rafa, with Novak 3rd, which is unusual. And the US Open has been playing slower and slower the past few years. This year, so far, again, very slow. I think it's about 3% fewer holds than the tour average on hard courts. So that's quite a significant factor as well. But of course, the main thing, as I say, is just Schwartzman. The under 9.5 games bet has landed in 56% of his sets this year, and also in 64% of his matches over the I think as a favorite over the past year on hard courts. So it's very much one of those situations where we're getting odds against on a bet that has landed consistently at least 55 to 60% of the time. So I think that's a very, very easy bet. And then the under 8.5 games has come in, I think, something more like a third, and we can get 4.6. So again, very, very big prices on something that has consistently been happening a lot over Schwartzman's career. Sangren, not the best player for it because he's 6'2" and serve orientated. He holds about 2% more than the tour average and breaks 2% less. But that tends to not be that big of a deal for Schwartzman. He can still, if he's able to get his racket on the ball and get it in play, he can still often grind down the big servers very quickly and make them feel like they don't know what they're going to do. So yeah, I took under 8.5 and under 9.5 games in Schwartzman against Sangren. And then I think also it's interesting you mentioned the Lopez Medvedev match. I think I'm not that concerned about him dropping a set to Delian on principle, but he was clearly exhausted in that match, and he said afterwards that he was amazed he was even able to move during parts of it. So the big problem I have with Medvedev now, and we've been saying this for weeks, is he's surely going to get tired soon. He may well come out fresh and feel fine against Lopez, but I would be getting increasingly worried about how he's going to hold up in these conditions, especially the hot, humid conditions, slow conditions. He's going to have to slug it out increasingly. Lopez was very, very good last round, and in the first round, he's been very good this week. And in general, to be honest, when I've seen him this year, he's been pretty competitive. So I'm not too inclined to get involved there. I think the price on Medvedev definitely feels too long. I agree when you first look at it. But I think the fitness concerns are becoming a bit more real now. So yeah, I just thought I'd comment on that match. I'd probably leave that one alone personally. And then the final bet that I'll take is in the Rublev Kyrgios match. Snize took the over bet, so I'll take the first set tiebreak at 3.5 because I think that's a nice price. Anything over 3, I think you're getting clear value.
Also, would you play over 39.5 games in Medvedev's game at 2.05?
If it's difficult, I probably would expect that, but I think the problem is I'm not sure what's happening with Medvedev. If he's just not fit, he could easily lose that in straight sets. I mean, I don't expect that at all, obviously, but when you're looking at over bets, I feel like I'm not that keen on matches where fatigue is a big element. But yeah, that's a difficult one. I think I would expect that line as long as they both play, as long as they're both not injured or anything or pull out. So yeah.
Yeah, OJ Johnson is saying, good point, James. Medvedev went deep in 3 straight tournaments prior to the US Open. Surely fatigue will catch up on him, and he's also worried about Djokovic and that shoulder holding up. Yeah, I still think that Djokovic makes it to the final with Nadal there. And if Nadal will play very good, I think that Nadal might have a chance in that final against Djokovic. But that's it for today. We will be back on Sunday, same time, and many, many days next week. So we have the tennis boys with us Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that's a great coverage for the US Open, and we are here for that reason. Join us next time on Monday after we will be back on Sunday with the tennis with the round 4, but we have an interesting schedule also next week. As you already guys know, the international break is here, so we have the Euro 2020 qualifiers. We will preview that on Monday, me and Flash. After that, we have Champions League groups by groups futures with Martin and Flash. The quarterfinals of the US Open with James and Snize. After that, on Wednesday, we have Europa League group by group, and also some golf with Craig for the Porsche Masters. UFC 242, Khabib in action with Dave and Jason on Thursday. The semifinals of the US Open, and after that, the finals and some more action starting in 2 weeks. That's it for today. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you guys for watching us. We will be back on Sunday. Take care. Bye bye. Best of luck.
See you later.
See you guys. Take care. Happy weekend.